Hey everyone, Mark and Joey here on a beautiful Monday morning after a great weekend of sports again, and focusing on sport that we love, golf, obviously. And we're going to get to the PGA show here, but did want to mention that we're expanding again, where you can listen to us and see us. And this time it's about listening. You know that we're on Roku TV, we're on Vimeo.com, we're on NGSSports.com, of course, onto Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and all over the place that way. But this past week, I guess it got loaded up this weekend for the first time, is our new podcast, which is a audio podcast only of this same show. But now you can listen on the radio. You can listen wherever you are, work, whatever. You don't have to be watching the screen, and you can listen to the podcast now. So we're expanding there, Joey. And where are we going to be on these podcasts?
So we're going to be on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Acast, TuneIn, Sticker, and Pocket Podcast, and lastly, Google Podcast. So check all of those out. Many ways that you guys can now listen to us. So.
And search for Ultimate Sports Channel when you get there. And we're really excited. We're starting to get some comments on YouTube. If you guys want to get back to us, YouTube is a great place to do that. And we love it because people differentiate. One of them was about our NFL show about the Browns and the Ravens. So we're happy to get that kind of comment back. So if you can go over to YouTube, you can not only watch, but you can comment back to us very easily. And we respond to all those comments because we love the debate of sports. That's what makes it great.
Yeah, exactly. And it was a Browns fan who had a little bit of an issue with us saying they're going to miss the playoffs, but that's what it's all about. It's how we feel about that division. We're going to dive into football later today, but let's start off with the golf. We did pretty well ourselves.
And, as we said to you, we're all over the board typically with golf.
Yeah, we were again.
We weren't quite as much. This is an off-week event, and it's tougher to pick what the veteran guys are going to do. However, if you listen to our show, and if you didn't, go back to last Wednesday when I picked Joey Garber is probably the super long shot. He was so close. Now we wager on a website that allows you to wager top 10, top 20. I put tiny bit on the win, and I put on top 10, top 20. So I had a great weekend. But I just want to tell you, we see the golf world. We know what's going on there, and I predicted Joey as our super long shot, and people should have picked up on not just betting the win, obviously, but having a good week. And boy, he was right there, a couple shots out right to the end, and it was pretty exciting to see someone that you had played golf with.
Right.
Of course, you had played golf with Corey Connors as well when he won a little bit earlier in the year. Exciting to see those guys. We played side by side with them, and it's exciting to see them doing so well.
Yeah, it's exciting because I think partly when I left those rounds, I didn't feel that far off yet. Obviously, I am because they're there and I'm here, but I'm also much younger, so I look at that as a great goal as progression, and to get there, they both made it at 26 years old.
Yeah, Joey just made it.
I'm 22, so I look at even Corey at 26. He finally made it, got a win. Joey's 26 when he made it. I look at myself at 22 and think I could definitely do that now, and the experience is great. But yeah, Joey Garber actually was really bad after round one, and I thought it was missed the cut. I actually told you, I said, oh yeah, he's gonna miss the cut. And he shot like 6 under, 6 under, 6 under. So he finished at minus 16, tied for 7th. Couldn't really do anything specifically the last 2 holes.
Yeah.
Or last 3 holes. Which is unfortunate, but I don't think he was going to catch Matt Wolf and finish at 21 under.
He got close, and as we know, the pressure mounts when you're real close to winning an event.
Well, I just think it was probably good for him to have his name up there. For him to matter, he got some TV money, so great week by him.
And you also had a guy finish 7th as well.
So I had Matthew. I went with the 3 favorites just to see where they'd go. I was very interested in this type of tournament.
So again, I was very right when I said we don't know how these favorites are playing these events. And again, they pretty much stunk the joint out, which is unfortunate that with the new schedule, we were real excited about the new schedule at the start of the year. But it looks like the veterans are only playing to get ready for the next major.
Well, I'll tell you
They're
what,
not playing to win.
There's not enough time, I don't think, for them. That's what Brooks saying. He goes, well, people don't, underestimate, I guess the word. They underestimate how much time they put into majors and how much mental pressure is on their brains during these big events. And he thinks, that fans at home just go, no, that looks easy because we make it look easy. But the prep and the work and when you're playing the tournament and the media for all these majors, especially the media, is so high that when they come to these regular weeks, they don't have enough time anymore to worry about these events. There's not enough time to wait until the British Open to put every effort into winning this event. And there was no time, after the U.S. Open to get ready for this event. In their minds, that's the way they're looking at it. So they're coming out here. They're playing decent golf. They're probably working on stuff. They're always working on stuff.
Yeah, always.
It could easily be a bad driver. So he hits driver all week long, whether it's good or bad, just to get it ready for the British Open. Maybe he's working on a stinger shot, getting ready for the British Open. So You know, they didn't do
they're
very
playing
well
in America, but now warming up for a British Open.
They would
which is
still,
an entirely different game of golf.
but they would still try shots. I guarantee
That's
there's
what I mean,
guys out there trying shots, even though it doesn't fit the
Get
course.
ready for the tournament.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but
you know, Matsuyama though did do good. By the way, I quickly want to point him out because he was really bad after he was supposed to be really, really good after that PGA. Had a wife, got married, had a kid, all that stuff. Is kind of coming back. His pause isn't as long. He might be a dark horse, by the way, going in the British Open.
We'll be looking at that in a couple weeks for sure.
Yeah.
But also what we were talking about there, what the difference is in golf is that each player owns his own life, right?
Right.
On team sports, if you're really good, you're just really good because everybody on the team is expecting you to be really good all the time.
Right.
You can't take a week off or a game off or whatever. And that's not the same in golf. And that's the interesting part. People don't, if you don't play competitive golf, don't understand. These guys are in charge of their own lives.
Yeah.
If they don't worry this week, they just don't worry this week. Whereas you're on a team and you see a team like a basketball team, if they're good, they're winning. Like every time they play. That doesn't happen in golf. These guys there's one at the top, there's one score that matters, and that's majors, and trying to catch Tiger first and then trying to catch Jack. In between that, they have so much money. They have no teammates. They have nobody that they have to prove anything to. So as you're saying, they could be practicing a shot that's going to be very important at the British Open. The hard part is, it's good for us fans. The hard part for them is that the PGA is now insisting they play a certain amount of events during that 3-month period, which is difficult. It's hard to take weeks off and get ready. So they're getting ready during play time, which is hard on the lesser events because we're not seeing these guys on TV on Saturday and Sunday. And realistically, you know, you would have thought that none of them even played this week. There was nobody at the top.
Well, they were all done
value,
by the time TV came on at 3 o'clock. They're all done. They're already on a flight.
And some missed the cut.
What they do though is they provide live audience, which is good, I guess. If you ever want to see Brooks Koepka, go to a regular event because he's playing early morning, Saturday,
at least Thursday,
Sunday.
Friday.
Yeah,
some of them aren't getting through there. Like my pick, Ryan Moore. He didn't even make the cut.
He's not a top guy, though. I'm talking about the top guy. You know, Brooks and Jason Day both made the cut.
Yeah.
And finished at -6 for the tournament. So you could have, if you're fans of them, you could have saw them on Saturday and Sunday when maybe you don't think you could. But yeah, it's just difficult because of the scheduling, and obviously there are now rules. They got to play a new event every year. Or play 25 events, which guys are just not going to do, especially with how busy it is these days with the majors so close. So it is what it is. I mean, they're getting what they want, which these guys are at every week. These guys are at events. They're getting live attendance to come out. They might be there come Sunday. We haven't seen much this year, but you know, it is what it is. Unlike Matt Wolff, where this is virtually his major, you know, so he puts everything into this week. You'll probably see him tail off and not have a very strong rest of the season. He's so much effort.
He's going to look at the bank tomorrow and see $1 million plus.
Holy smokes.
So life is going to change for good old Matt. Yeah. And we've seen this amongst young players if you watch. So let's transition actually to Matt. And if you've watched a lot of golf and seen guys win that first event, we talked about this on Friday, I think, about our Canadians, right? Every one of the Canadians that were in the event has won one tournament and has not been able to break through. And even yesterday, Adam Hadwin was right there, had as much a chance as anybody to win and cannot break through with that second win. And that shows how difficult it is. I mean, you know, the sportscasters have got to be all over these young guys. I mean, that's who's out there right now in stars. But people look at what they're talking like these guys have already proven themselves as these fantastic PGA players. You know what? They've come out of college. They're full of themselves, full of what they're doing on tour, which is, they should be. I mean, perfect. But man, that one win is tough to replicate. And so it's going to be interesting to see what Matt Wolff does. Can he replicate that? Because, you know, you all of a sudden see all that money in the bank. You've already played 3 or 4 or 5 events, whatever. And then your life just seems easier, right? And it's tougher to, in college, you're on a team.
Right.
Like that's why it's hard to transition out of college a lot of times. It takes a certain number of years. I remember way back when Rose almost won the British Open as, I would say, an 18-year-old, I would think it would have been. And then would he miss 20 cuts in a row after that? Right.
I'd say this is a little different, but I will say you're nothing until you've hit a slump on the PGA Tour. Yeah. And you see that with Jordan Spieth right now. Even Rory, who in theory is in like an 8-year major slump. You know, you're never...
Spieth hasn't won a tournament in 2 years.
Spieth
just a tournament.
Spieth is your perfect example of what these young guys will at some point go through. Now, people will say Spieth already has 3 majors. So, you know, yeah, great for you. And Matt Wolff might not be a Spieth. He might be a Tiger. Who knows? He might be Rory. He might be none of them. He might be more than all of them. You don't know. But my thing is, I don't care until I see you go through a slump. Now, with that being said, he's going to be on the tour for a long time. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about him losing his card. Yeah. We're talking about him becoming one of the greats of all time. He's going to keep his card. He's always going to win. He's going to play great golf, I imagine. But there's going to be a slump. There's going to be a point in his life. And the problem with a swing like that, too, when does the slump maybe take a toll on that? Because you saw Spieth. What's the first thing happened in his slump? He started changing his swing because
what was the
people
first
told him it was no
What was
good.
the first thing Nick Faldo was saying? I don't know how he continues on the PGA with that swing.
Yeah,
that's what every coach is going to say.
Because of the injuries.
Yeah.
And you know, they go, every guy yesterday said, man, he's going to be injured, blah, blah. Now, if you take the Tiger approach, which is, who cares if you can win it so much by 30 and then try to risk it through your 30s, maybe make some changes then, I'd be okay with that. If I'm Matt Wolff, I'm not changing it until something badly goes wrong for me as far as injury-wise. But yeah, no, they're going to be good players. They're talking about them being great players.
Yeah.
I just want to see, my first thing is, what will you do when you get in a slump? Now, Matt Wolff has won at 20 years old. Everyone who's won that young has obviously gone on to have great careers. Even Spieth, even if he never won again, he has 3 majors and like 15 wins. So, and he's probably going to win again at some point. So we're not talking about that. We're just talking about
next Tiger.
Who's the next Jack? Who's the next Tiger? Is it Matt Wolff? He obviously has the potential. Hits a freaking mile. And obviously can putt too. That putt he made on 18 was epic. So he just continues some great play. But what will you do in your first slump? Are you going to change stuff? Are you going to just keep going? That's my big question.
But here's what would be funny. When you go play golf with your buddies over the next 2 weeks, find out how many of them are doing that little shift move before they hit the ball. Because the one great thing about amateurs is they see something different on TV.
They're going to try it.
They're going to try it. Because what the hell? I mean, if you're shooting 85 or 90 anyway. But I would be laughing as to go out with guys that are, I mean, obviously with you, you're a pro, you have a coach, and you're not going to fall into that. But just guys who look every week at golf and you go, oh, what's that thing?
There's guys on tour trying his swing.
Yeah,
like at the range, they had video of all these guys trying his swing this week. So it's going to catch on. There's going to be people trying it.
He's right out of college.
I mean, he hits it a mile too, which and what's funny is
he was flying at 310 some drives. Wow.
Give him credit. Give him credit that he hasn't made changes yet. Like I can't believe he's lasted this long without some coach ruining his swing. It's amazing.
What should he do? You're a guy with that swing. What would you do?
What?
I'd go get Jim Furyk as a mentor because Furyk never changed his swing.
But
his whole career.
He did the same coach since he was like
I'm just saying,
8 years old.
He hasn't bowed to people talking about changing that weird swing, right? I would get with Furyk because people are going to be all over him. Coaches, everybody's going to be all over him to change his swing because it's not conventional. All the guys talked on the telecast about not lasting, about injury, about all those things. So I would advise Matt to get a hold of Furyk and get mentored through all what's going to happen.
But the key for Furyk was he had one coach his whole life, his dad. Yeah. Matt Wolff's had one coach his whole life. So as long as it doesn't change the coach, you got to think this coach is already committed to the style of this swing, committed to the funny things you see in it that are obviously working. I don't think the only way he gets in trouble is if he gets into something and fires his coach, he can get in trouble there.
You see that happen all the time.
You know, that would be an issue. But this coach has already believed in the swing. He's let it ride all the way through. Even in college, kept the same. They didn't use the college coaches. He kept his own coach. So they've already been kind of through that process. And I don't see this ever changing except for injury. But the key is, when you get through a slump, are you going to fire the coach? Are you going to keep the coach? Is the coach not going to be panicked to make changes? Because you've never slumped. Like, that's what his coach said. How do you keep the swing this way? Well, he's never lost. He just keeps winning. So,
but the funny part is you say that. They talked about that, him going into college, and talking about changing his swing, and they said, but he just played so well, no one would tinker with it. So as you say, what happens when the big slump comes up? When you're not playing well? And that happens to every golfer. By the way, doesn't matter whether you're...
Even Tiger had...
Maybe take Tiger out of the picture, except when he was,
moments,
as he got a little older. But when he was younger, he was just unbelievable. But everyone else goes through these slump periods, and they change swings. Look at Tiger's had like 5 coaches. All the top guys have switched from coach to coach at times. So when it doesn't go well, it'll be interesting to see what Matt does with it. But anyway, it was very exciting to watch the future of golf.
Oh my God, what a tournament!
I mean, other than Hadwin, these guys are all in their 20s.
Well, and DeChambeau, man, with that clutch eagle on 18, probably thinking he's guaranteed a playoff, and then him to make this putt. His buddy, the Colin kid, who has a silky smooth swing.
Yeah, man.
Almost made his putt, but he has a great swing. He has a great game too. He has a swing that is like an Adam Scott type swing. It's something special there. And so, it was great to see the future of golf come up. Obviously, they're going to get into these bigger events and play against the top guys in the world. Be interested to see what they do. But DeChambeau, I mean, I was happy with the way he played. I wish he won. I think for the greater good of golf, although Matt Wolff winning at 20 years old, could he be the next guy? He's already got this Twitter by storm and the media by storm because of obviously winning at 20, but just the way everything he does is processed. So it'll be very interesting to see him go forward. But, finally an exciting event, yet... What did we find out yesterday? Still the longest drought.
29 events.
The longest drought on PGA Tour right now of 29 events without a playoff. I said this. I didn't know the numbers, but I've said this all year. It felt like we haven't had a playoff or even a close event, to be honest, in a while. This is the first close event we've had in a while. But yeah, I've said we haven't had a playoff. We haven't had a one-shot lead. Yeah. We finally got that, but still no playoff.
This looked like a 3-man playoff. I mean, he made a great putt off the fringe.
I mean, nobody it was going 10 feet by, but it was, hey, when you got the line, no one cares. You celebrate, you win. But yeah, it was looking like a 3-man playoff. He may not even
made the playoff if this doesn't go in, right? Like, he may not have made the birdie putt back.
But no one cares now.
But anyway, doesn't care. Win the hole. That's what the game's all about. So anyway, fantastic week of golf. But let's go overseas because that's coming up anyway. Guess who steps up and wins the Irish Open with a big comeback? Jon Rahm. And are we now looking at Rahm being a serious contender? He would be anyway. But are we looking at him being a real serious contender now for the British Open?
I'd say yes, only because obviously he went over there and won. He didn't play in American weather. If he won this event here, like DeChambeau won this event, I wouldn't say he's ready for the British Open because it had nothing to do.
Well, it depends. Wimbledon is getting amazing weather, so who knows?
Yeah, but this is in Northern Ireland actually this year. It's in Rory's hometown. So yeah, Rahm would become a pick for me. He plays obviously from Europe. I don't know if he has all the shots in the British Open. If the weather's bad, if the weather's good, then definitely. If the weather's good, it basically brings out every top guy because they all just got the normal great game.
Yeah.
But when the weather gets bad, it's the stingers, it's the big hooks, and
under the wind.
It's the under the wind, it's the high winds. When it's downwind, what do you do? It's the rain, it's grips.
Well, you got to stay out of the rough in the British Open. I mean, the rough will be high. It'll be wispy, kind of.
Well, it'll be fescue. They don't really have rough. It's more fescue.
It's even worse.
Even worse. So it'd just be interesting on the weather. I think if the weather's good, Rahm's definitely a contender. Always is. I'm interested in finding out the green speed. I don't want to make any predictions because I know a lot of guys struggle on slow greens. Tiger, one of them, if you don't know this, he always complains about how slow the greens are.
Well, he always changes his putter going to the British Open almost every year
because of the
struggles. So you can imagine having Tiger having struggled with putting. But he always did that, always brought a different putter for the British Open. So it'll be interesting to see. Of course, Rory's going to be a favorite when that happens as well.
Rory will be a favorite. Speaking of a guy who needs good weather, he's probably one of those guys. He does not like the bad weather that much. Now he's matured. I don't know how do you do in the bad weather, but he is not a huge fan up front. Rahm, I don't know up front. I don't predict he'd be that big a fan of the weather. I think Matt Wolff would be interesting. I think he's going to struggle going forward. But he does have a game where he hits it low, he hits it high, he can work it. Spieth is this is Spieth's event to always come back on track. Even last year he had the lead through 3 days.
Right.
Course fading. Sorry, he didn't have the lead. Had the lead through 2 days, backed off, then kind of backed off some more. But because of how quirky it is, because of where he grew up in Texas, if you're looking for an American to win a U.S. Open, it seems to be Texans quite a bit because they play in that wind, they play in that bad weather, and he loves it. He embraces it. It's not like, I can put up with it. No,
I don't know if Spieth's embracing anything right now. I mean, his golf game's real trouble.
Well, I just say,
I thought he was moving forward, and then he really has not done anything in the last few weeks that he's played. I'm real concerned about his overall game, and can he ever come back? He is talking to himself during the round. He's too mechanical, I find, in the round. Whatever they're working on, he's overworking it in a round of golf. We've talked about this a million times that you got to leave the practice on the practice range, and you got to go out and just hit the ball. And he's not that way. He's muttering to himself. He's blaming his caddy. This kind of excuses is not what produces great golf.
Right. And Brooks Koepka, what do you think about him?
Well, Koepka can win any tournament. You can't deny that he hits it so straight. He'll stay out of the big high fescue. I think he's going to be. You don't have to say he's always a possibility. I'm thinking Rory for me, and we're gonna have to see how it comes up. But I'm thinking Rory in a big win. I'm thinking it's the last major of the year. I think it's in his hometown. I think he is going to be ready to go. This is, like you say, epic in his town. He's got to get to that 5th major before he's 30. So, he knows that there's that pressure on him if he wants to go after Tiger's record, which he has now stated he does. So this is a big one because it's the end of the year. It's got to happen. So I'm going to be big on Rory, I think, coming into the British Open. We're going to have time to see more stuff happening before then. But and I really like Rahm, except for one issue I have with him in the majors. He's so fiery. Can he keep his brain together when something goes wrong? That's been his challenge. We saw it. I think it was in the Players, wasn't it? Where his caddy gave him sound advice. He decided to change his mind and didn't even tell his caddy he was changing his mind. Didn't even get the shot location. I just got up there and hit it. So you can't win majors when you're doing that.
I'll tell you,
but someone
who's a dark horse, and it's hard to believe he's a dark horse, but if the weather gets bad, I have a lot of faith in this guy, and hopefully it gets bad for him. I like Ricky Fowler. He loves the British Open. He loves the bad weather.
And he's won the Scottish Open before, too.
He's won the Scottish Open, but more important, I think if it gets a little nasty out there, he's always been the one to embrace it. He loves it. He loves the different shots. He played a lot of well, not a lot, but he played some junior golf over there. I like Ricky Fowler. I think in the British Open, if he's going to win a major, that's going to be his one, because I just feel like it's a little bit more open. Obviously, they have the fescue, but it is in theory pretty open.
Compared to what they play here.
Compared to what they play here.
Fairways being 15 yards wide.
You got the bunkers, but he's a good bunker player. He has all the shots, the lows, the highs, the draws, the fades. I feel like he's a great putter no matter where he goes. But I just think when it comes down to it, his attitude is always top notch. And I think it could be his week in Northern Ireland. We'll look at it more going forward, because I want to get closer weather updates. I want to hear what they're talking about as far as how the course is going to be set up and etc. But lots of great guys playing pretty good going into the British.
My
Open.
only worry is Ricky's season kind of been blah. Like, it really hasn't gone.
He had a win though.
But that was early, right? Like lately, it's just been.
He hasn't played much.
Kind of middle. He hasn't played much at all.
He's even played less.
He's been kind of middle of the pack. Now, does that mean he's taking a mode of training into a major as opposed to playing into a major? Maybe. And then you don't know what to expect out of a guy. If you spend a lot of time training and not playing, it's hard to really question,
He was in the lead at the first round of the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
Fell back, of course. That's his biggest Achilles heel. Will he have one of those big rounds?
Can
Will
he
he
stick?
Have those big drives that make him get double bogeys?
Because when he won early in the year.
That's the question.
When he won early in the year, it really took the rest of the guys not to play well. Like, he tried to give it away.
He tried his best. He shot 4 over.
Yeah, he did everything he could to give up the lead he had, but everybody else was just as bad. So I'm not confident yet that Ricky's that guy who's going to step up. I mean, what was it, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, he was in top 5 in all 4 majors. He obviously has the game to do that, but can he get to the finish line? We're going to have to see. It'll be interesting to see what's going to happen there. Obviously, as we go through all the stars, you got to think of Rose. I mean, he grew up in Europe, and this is where the guys played great golf in the past. And can he win? He's got that beautiful swing.
I like guys who are more free in their swinging. I feel their swing replicates the shots, the different shots they hit, and kind of the brain capacity to handle what the British Open could throw at you.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why like a Ricky who's really loose, like his swing is freedom. I feel like that's his mindset. And over there where stuff can come up and eat you up and weather and all this stuff, that's a good mindset. I feel like RAHM would get too upset with bad breaks, like a bad kick from the middle of the fairway rolling into a bunker. I feel like he'd lose his mind. Rory, I feel, is a free swinger. I feel like he can, right now, he's in a mentally free zone. I feel like he's very happy with where he is in life and in golf. And I think going home, you're right, that could be a possibility. Rozo, to me, is someone who's too technical to play a British Open. I don't think he has, like, kind of the weird shots that you almost need for the British Open, the creativity. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see.
He played a lot in Europe, though, so he's got to have those shots for sure before he came over here.
Yeah, but
obviously he's become number 1, playing in America.
Right.
But he had played there his whole life leading up to coming here. The other guy I want to talk about, because the funny part is that every major this year we have not picked him, and he has not won. But can DJ put on a driving display like when he lost to Speed, I think it was 2-3 years ago, where he drove. It was an epic watch of a guy who could hit a driver in the fairway. He couldn't putt worth a damn in that event. And he hasn't been putting great still because obviously he's not winning. But could he put the kind of game together because of how well he can drive?
No one's realized he's gone, I think it was second.
Yeah.
And
he's been there just
second and fourth for the U.S. Open maybe.
Yeah.
So he could easily be there in the British. The greens are big, which, fairways are big. He can rip that driver. Putting, in theory, bad greens should help bad putters in theory. So
it actually hurts good putters, which makes them better.
Which makes the bad putters look better statistically. Yeah. Also, slower greens typically help bad putters, because typically bad putters, it's matching speed with read, because that's what putting is speed and line. And bad putters have more difficulty than good putters. So slower greens usually help that, because slower greens usually means less break. You're gonna hit it firmer and feel more confident. So if he's going to win a major, I could easily see it being the British. He has the shots, but he kind of just plays the fade. I think that's okay. I think if you got good weather, though, DJ would easily become one of my favorites to win. I don't know how he'd handle the bad weather. I don't recall him many times in the bad weather playing good or bad. He's just kind of the same.
He couldn't be more chill about playing
He's
golf.
just the same. That's what I mean, though. Yeah, there's no advantage.
When weather bothers other guys, I just shoot.
You know what? It might be advantage for him because of how long he is to have some bad weather. He just has the attitude of whatever, so it might work for him. But I definitely think the greens might help him not being great. He's contended at a couple British Opens, actually.
Well, actually, people don't realize when won.
Yeah, and when Phil won, I think it was Phil, he actually hit it out of bounds on 16 or 14. When Spieth won his, he had the lead through 2 days and absolutely choked on the weekend. So, he's had some good British Opens. He obviously, the fairways just get wider for him and he can belt it. But I'm interested to see how the putting works for him. I think it could really help him. This might be his week. I think he's flying on the radar, which is ironic because he's Dustin Johnson. But no one's talked about him at most majors, yet he's had the second. So he's been there, guys, and really he's a good putting week away from easily winning the British Open.
Winning it, yeah. So anyway, that's just a couple pre-comments. We got an event coming up next week. Then we'll be into the British Open. So we'll be back Wednesday in our regular show, getting ready for the golf tournament happening this weekend. And we hope you got to watch this week because there's a lot of talented young guys out there that are going to be the future of the game. So much so, and I can't remember who was a comment, but one of the veterans who said, it looks like the switch is happening again. Bunch of young guys coming in. The older guys, it's time to go to the sidelines.
They said that, but look at all the old winners this year. It's been actually pretty crazy. I think there's always a balance, and I think each week, all of a sudden, everyone's mind goes from 100 to 100, meaning 100 old guys, 0% young guys. Now it's all. So you remember 2 weeks ago when we were talking about the old guys coming out, Ches Reavie was winning, and they're like, see, you don't have to hit it far. You hit on the greens and putt, and now all of a sudden, because it's whatever happens now is what gets talked about.
Well, they got to pump that up for sure.
Definitely. But the young guys bring the excitement over the older guys. But there's always balance.
This was the college release in the last couple weeks, right? They all got done, and they're all out there on tour now, and they've
be aware of Joaquin Niemann. Joaquin Niemann, who played last year. Had this exact same start. 8 events. World number one probably in 2 years. And now he's barely keeping his card. Well, actually, he's had a good couple of weeks. He's at like 100th now in the FedEx Cup, but was barely keeping his card for most this year. Matt Wolff actually got a win, so it's a little different, but I'm talking about this Colin, Victor Hovland. They're playing good golf. What do they do going into next year? They don't have free exemptions. Like now Matt Wolff's got 2 years. It's a little different. So we'll see. I don't want to put him down. I'm just always trying to look at the objective. At the end of the day, you still see all these great guys coming out at 27, in their 30s. Like Ches Reavie, 37, Gary Woodland, 36 winning major. Major winners are still veterans. These regular weeks.
And the guy last week?
Yeah, he was old. Nate Lashley was old, had a great story. So, I mean, the odd event, these young guys are winning, and then it takes the buzz for the week, and then all of a sudden it goes away again.
Well, it's always these events where not many of the good guys were playing in. There's been a lot of stories about those weekends where someone different's going to step up.
And Matt Wolff had quite the hype because his swing had taken over Instagram, Twitter, coaches' minds. So he had a little bit more hype than these other guys. So him actually winning was probably the best thing for that event because he is the youngest out of the 3 guys I mentioned. And because of the unique swing, he's always kind of a commodity simply from people who are so curious to find out what he'll do. So that's obviously a little different. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. Every week, all of a sudden you'll have like Rory or someone win the British Open. They'll go back to, see, you had to have experience and the big guys are back and Matt Wolff misses 2 cuts in a row and what's wrong? So that's golf and that's sports, quite frankly, is LeBron was in 9 straight finals, then all of a sudden when he doesn't make the playoffs, he should retire.
It's kind of funny because Wyndham playing yesterday, right? Was right there in the lead. And he'd missed 7 cuts in a row, and all of a sudden his game comes together. That's the nature of golf.
And all of a sudden, wow, watch out for this kid. Well, 7 weeks in a row he missed the cut. So, but it's the way golf, it's the way sports go, and that's fine. And we get it. We're just always trying to be objective, and we really want the guys currently at the top to keep going. They got to keep going, even if these young guys keep coming up. Those guys got to go because they're right now still the marketable pieces. But
Rory's really the key for the excitement of golf. He's the closest to Tiger with the 4 majors. It's hard to believe.
Brooks is younger.
Him and Brooks, I guess, 4 each. So, these guys are the guys who can pound on these majors and get close to Tiger.
Every major you want Rory or Brooks to win. They're the only guys. Or Spieth, actually, but the faith in Spieth is very low right now.
We've tried to promote him at every major.
We've tried our best, man. But if you ever got going, in theory, he's still your best hope because he has 3 majors and he's 4 years younger than these guys.
Ones, So we'll see what happens there.
We'll
those are the key guys going into any event in our mind to keep the game of golf right in the forefront of the fans and forefront of people deciding whether they want to get out and play golf on a regular basis. Having golf in the news all the time is fantastic. We're doing that. British Open coming up. So we'll look forward to that. We'll be back Wednesday with our show for this coming weekend.